So the Tempest has only been out for literally about 24 hours, maybe a little bit more by the time you see this video. And they've already done basically a hidden nerf, ruining most people's builds. We're going to talk about that, but I'm also going to showcase you my new build that I've now made post-nerf. Let's get straight into it, guys. So first things first, there were two things that were impacted by said nerf. We haven't seen any notes about it yet, not even in the Diablo partner program Discord yet. But there's two things that you should know. Zephyr's damage was very heavily nerfed. People are now doing about 100 mil less damage than what they were doing literally yesterday. And some builds are dramatically changing. Now, the other thing that people are seeing a big difference in is Storm Fury. So between Storm Fury and Zephyr's in tandem or separately, they were doing a lot less damage. So I played on stream for 2 hours last night, and I was trying to figure out builds this morning. I wake up and I was like, dang, they nerfed it. So instead, I have made a new build that is less focused on that, but can also be very, very strong. So I wanted to go and showcase it to you guys so that way when you guys are raiding or doing anything else for PvE and you need a single target build, whether it be for dungeons or anything else, you have a good build to use. Now, I'm going to say this is the best build for right now. Now we are going to get new essences. We're going to find better ways of min-maxing the gear. The Tempest has only been out for 2 days. So I think it's the best viable build right now. And we'll talk about some changes you can make with different gear and so on and so forth. But let's get straight to it. First, I'll show you the numbers and then I'll break down the skills, the Paragon, because that's actually important now, the Paragon tree, and the set gear and everything in between. So let's get straight to it. We're going to do it for 30 seconds and then you can do some math to figure out how much it is per second. For a minute rather. Let's get straight to it. 3, 2, 1, and go. And I'm not going to be using my ultimate or anything crazy like that, just straight up doing normal damage for like I said, 30 seconds on the dot. It's very easy to do too. You basically just want to keep your cooldowns up as much as possible. Like I said, it's pretty decent damage. I'm very satisfied with it compared to what I was doing yesterday. I do try to pick up the orbs where I can, as long as I don't lose damage for it. So keep that in mind when you see me rotate a little bit. All right, pause. So 32.5 mil. This is not the highest I've gotten. I've gotten in the 40s. There is a lot of RNG, especially with these orbs that factor in, especially if they're on cooldown. So your damage could dramatically change, but this is the build that I used in my raid last night, and I feel really good about it. So let's go ahead and talk about it. When it comes to the gear, I'm using Unyielding Vision, which is Rolling Surf. Critical hits cause an explosion of water, dealing X amount of damage to nearby enemies, damage increased. And I'm currently at Mastery 2, in case you're curious. Chest piece is a Deserter's Pride, which is going to be Cascade, also increases your primary attack speed by 30%. Shoulders, Depth Drawn, which is the one that is Breaker, also increases your damage by 13% for 4 seconds. Pants, Footprints in the Abyss, which is going to be Breaker now conjures 2 Zephyrs to ride the wave, damaging enemies in its path. The Breaker cooldown reduced by 2.4. Flooded Stream is Main Hand 1, which is Rolling Surf now empowers your edges, causing you and your Zephyr's primary attack to become Swirling Whips, strikes as you move. Now, you'll note that there is a other option. If you look at the tooltips alone, it could mislead you thinking that this one does more damage, which is, I'm not even going to try to say it, the X one. And it does, from a numerical standpoint, look like it does more, but it looks like the one that I have equipped actually attacks faster. So keep that in mind. Bigger damage number on the other one. This one attacks faster, thus giving you more damage per second, because the damage difference, the total damage difference, isn't that different, where you're benefiting from higher damage compared to attack speed. Offhand 1, we're using Wind Edge, which is Fiendfell, which is Wind Edge becomes empowered every 6 seconds, causing your next attack to unleash a piercing wind that slices through enemies, dealing X amount of damage depending on your gear, and shattering their armor, causing them to take 13% increased damage. Offhand 2, and this is where things could change a little bit if you wanted to. So Vortex also increases your primary attack speed by 19.5% for 3 seconds after hitting an enemy. And then the other offhand 2 is No Second Chances, which is Wind Edge becomes empowered when you use a skill, causing your next 2 primary attacks to deal 18 or X amount of additional damage to nearby enemies. So there are some changes you could make. So when it comes to the offhands, no, I think it's actually I'm not on offhands, so that's why I'm confused. So if you go to the offhands, there is also Zephyr damage increase. You play with this. I've had varying. I've been smashing my head against the wall for a while now, but play with it with this one with the Vortex increased attack speed. I mean, we'll go and test it right now just for the video. It's we're talking really min-maxing the builds at this point, but you are summoning more Zephyr, so maybe this one will work. I've been fine-tuning this build like pretty consistently for several hours too. So let's go and try again. So 32.5 mil total damage or 1 basically 1.0 mil damage is the goal to beat. All right, ready, set, go. Let's see where this gets us. Your opener is basically the same. As long as you have your buffs up, you'll be in good shape. Okay, almost done. A little bit less damage per second, it looks like, potentially. Yeah, a little bit less. Actually, pretty darn close. So you can see, like, you know, when you get to this point, you're really just sort of min-maxing it the best that you want. I also tried switching the pants to... I tried Flowing Strike as well for increased damage. You can also do Mist Touch cooldown is reduced. I don't like that one. I tried this one. Also increases your attack speed for each one you control for the Zephyrs. You're basically going to always average at least 9% attack speed, which could be good. It's hard to say. And then maybe you do something like the Zephyr damage increase compared to the attack speed. Play with it, but this is like the foundation of the build that I like a lot, is what I'm currently showing you. And then for set gear, I will tell you what I'm using, and I'll tell you what other people are also testing and seeing similar results. So currently, I'm rocking a 4-piece Vithus and a 4-piece Shalbass. It seems like Vithus, a 4-piece Vithus, is what most people are considering to be the best option, but the other 2 to 4 pieces is what everyone else is sort of discussing. I personally think it makes the most sense for Shalbass because the whole build is basically primary attack. But I've seen people with similar numbers that are using Banquet. So 4-piece Vithus and 4-piece Banquet. Now my Warband, shout out to them, did point out, because I was like, there's no continuous damage. Well, it sounds like your primary attack, from all the buffs you're doing to your primary attack, is what is doing your continual damage. So you actually are benefiting from Banquet, unlike what I thought originally. Again, in my testing, the damage is pretty close to the same with those set gear. I did want to bring special attention to the Paragon tree since it is a little bit different. We're using Slinger, and then we're basically using everything up at the top. So this is going to be Unseen Dynamism, Uncanny, Spell Surge, Impulsive, and Gifted. Now, if you wanted to, you could also remove the bottom 2 here, or maybe these 2, and put this if you wanted to use the other primary attack that gives you a little bit more range. That way you get a little bit more range, as well as the one that increases critical strike. So Sharp Eye and Careful Aim. So these are the 2 that I would toggle in because you have the ability of doing so if you're using the other primary skill, which in this case is going to be Wave's Edge. But I really like Wind Edge. Wave's Edge does more AoE. It's better for farming and stuff like that, in my opinion at least, whereas Wind Edge is the one that helps you close gaps. It's single target focused, and it also really helps in PvP. So that's my build. So I'm using a Breaker, Cascade, Rolling Surf, and Vortex. Vortex, because I just changed it, is actually not benefiting at all. So if you were to use the changes that I made, just switch out Vortex for Storm Fury. Again, Vortex was originally equipped because that first main hand I had was making you do more damage. So there's that. So if you're not going to be using the Vortex one, switch it to Storm Fury because it does have a bigger cooldown, but it also imbues your weapons, causing your primary attacks to unleash slashes of wind, dealing additional 40% damage. I mean, again, for kicks and giggles, let's continue to, you know, sharpen our swords and max this bad boy out. So let's see if this is going to net us any additional profit. So what I say, 32 mil is the number to beat. All right, here we go. It did peak around 2 mil damage per second. This one's gonna be more cooldown focused, so there's that. Now I am buffing it, so it will be extended duration, so I might have a closer amount of uptime. Looks actually I might even have 100% uptime on it, so that is nice. This is actually gonna do more damage. Very interesting. But it is very cooldown centric. So you can see, like, again, that one did more damage. They're almost 40 mil. So, and again, the change that I made was the main hand, number 1, was to the Zephyr damage increase. I kept the pants on Footprints in the Abyss, which is Breaker now consumes 2%, or conjures 2 Zephyrs to ride the wave, damaging enemies in their path. But I switched the skill, which is going to be Storm Fury, because that one is also giving you, again, additional 40% damage. So really play with your builds, guys. I am constantly changing them, but I did want to give you guys at least the foundation of a good PvE raid slash... It's really more raid focused because it's really focused on single single target, but because people are raiding right now, I wanted to at least get this build out there. I already have a PvP build and a PvE build that I am both working on editing and producing for you guys. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe to the channel, guys. Like the video. We've been grinding, dude. We've been grinding, and we got a lot of other projects we're currently working on. So sleep is not something I'm getting a lot of. So just for that reason alone, like the video. Anyway, I hope to see you guys in a video soon, and thank you so much for your continued support. Take it easy.